Cannabis Common Sense, the show that tells the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition.
Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Cannabis Common Sense. We have a great show for you tonight. We have Mr. Tim Pate over here on guitar, ready to sing some songs. That's him.
Hey, Paul.
How are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, very well. We have a good hemp news segment for you tonight. We have some film clips we'll be rolling, and we'll be taking your phone calls in just a few minutes after we bring out our infamous dancing cannabis leaves.
I feel the force.
All right, our first story tonight is out of Arizona. Arizona voters have narrowly passed a statewide ballot measure regulating the physician-supervised use of marijuana as a medicine. Arizona's election officials on Monday announced that Proposition 203, the Arizona Medical Marijuana Act, had gained 50.13% of the vote. The measure had been trailing in previous vote counts. It passed by 4,321 votes out of 1.7 million total votes cast. The act removes Arizona's state-level criminal penalties on the use and possession of up to 2.5 ounces of marijuana by patients who have written certification from their physicians indicating that cannabis may alleviate their condition. Patients diagnosed with the following illnesses are afforded legal protection under the new Arizona medical marijuana law: cancer, glaucoma, positive status for HIV or AIDS, hepatitis C, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis or Lou Gehrig's disease, Crohn's disease, agitation of Alzheimer's disease, or any chronic or debilitating medical condition or its treatment that produces one or more of the following: cachexia or wasting syndrome, severe or chronic pain, severe nausea, seizures, including those characteristic of epilepsy, severe and persistent muscle spasms, including those characteristic of multiple sclerosis. Persistent muscle spasms or seizures and other conditions will be subject to approval by the Arizona Department of Health Services. Patients who are in compliance with the act may not be disciplined by their employers, and they may not be criminally charged with driving under the influence solely on the basis of the presence of inactive marijuana metabolites in their urine without further evidence of impairment. Under law, the Arizona Department of Health Services has 120 days to adopt rules governing nonprofit dispensaries which may produce and dispense marijuana to authorized patients. Neither patients nor their caregivers may legally cultivate marijuana under this act if they reside within 25 miles of an operating state-licensed dispensary. A spokesperson from the Arizona Department of Health Services told the Arizona Republic this week that the agency expects to begin authorizing the use and distribution of medical cannabis by April next year, 2011. Arizona is the 15th state since 1996 to approve the medical use of marijuana and the 11th to do so via voter initiative. Our next story tonight is from the Netherlands. Out of the Netherlands, experienced marijuana consumers become tolerant to the substance's impairing potential on psychomotor skills, according to clinical trial data published online in the journal Psychopharmacology. Investigators at Maastricht University in the Netherlands and Goethe University in Germany assessed the effects of cannabis and alcohol in 21 experienced marijuana consumers. That's defined as smoking more than 4 days per week. The subjects completed various driving simulator performance tests, including measures of perceptual motor control, critical tracking tests, dual task processing or divided attention tasks, and motor inhibition or stop signal tasks, and cognition. The researchers determined that alcohol dosing significantly impaired the subject's critical tracking, divided attention, and stop signal performance. By contrast, investigators reported that smoking THC cigarettes did not affect task performance. THC did not affect performance of heavy cannabis users in critical tracking tasks, the stop signal task, and others. The authors wrote, "These tasks have previously been shown to be very sensitive to the impairing potential of THC when administered to infrequent cannabis users. The lack of THC on these tasks basically confirms the previous notions that regular cannabis users can develop tolerance to the behaviorally impairing effects of THC." The authors did report that subjects' performance on the divided attention task was affected by both THC and alcohol and their combination. The investigators further reported that heavy marijuana use did not produce cross-tolerance to the impairing potential of alcohol alone or the synergistic effects of alcohol and cannabis when used concurrently. A previously published study from July also found that experienced cannabis consumers' overall performance accuracy on episodic memory and working memory tasks was not significantly altered by marijuana. The researchers in the study concluded, quote, "The pattern of effect is consistent with results previously reported by other researchers studying the acute effects of marijuana on cognitive performance of regular users. The observation that frequent users' response accuracy is not altered after marijuana smoking to the same extent it is for infrequent users suggests that near daily marijuana smokers may have developed tolerance to some of the marijuana-related behavioral effects," end quote. The full text of this study, Tolerance and Cross-Tolerance to Neurocognitive Effects of THC and Alcohol in Heavy Cannabis Users, appears online in the journal Psychopharmacology. Our next story tonight is from New Jersey. New Jersey senators are scheduled to vote this Monday, November 22nd, on a resolution to compel state health officials to revise proposed regulations for the state's nascent medical cannabis program. Last month, New Jersey Department of Health officials released onerous draft regulations regarding the implementation of the New Jersey Compassionate Medical Marijuana Act, which was initially signed into law in January. The proposed rules violate the intent of the law by limiting the manufacture of medical cannabis to 2 licensed facilities, restricting the percentage of THC that may be present in the plant to no more than 10%, and limiting the varieties of legal cannabis available to no more than 3 strains. They further demand that doctors who authorize their patients to use marijuana must make reasonable efforts at least every 3 months to wean them off the drug, a requirement that presently exists for no other controlled substance. Several patient advocacy groups, including New Jersey NORML and the Coalition for Medical Marijuana, New Jersey, and lawmakers, have criticized the proposed program as being unduly restrictive and not consistent with the intent of the New Jersey legislature. Various editorial boards, such as the New Jersey Star-Ledger and the Asbury Park Press, have also opined against the proposed regulations. The Senate and Assembly resolutions, if approved by both chambers, would give the state health officials 30 days to revise these unduly burdensome regulations. Now, if you are watching out there and you live in the Garden State of New Jersey, call your New Jersey State Senator. Contact them and urge them to vote yes on SCR 130. Once again, contact those New Jersey State Senators and urge them to vote yes on SCR 130. Our next story tonight has to do with the nomination of the head of the Drug Enforcement Administration. It was a little over a year ago when the United States Department of Justice announced that it would back away from pursuing cases against medical marijuana patients and providers who are acting in accordance with state and local laws. On October 19th, the Department of Justice announced, quote, "As a general matter pursuant to federal law enforcement, priorities should not focus federal resources on individuals whose actions are in clear and unambiguous compliance with existing state laws providing for the medical use of marijuana." That was from the Department of Justice back on October 19th, 2009. For example, prosecution of individuals with cancer or other serious illnesses who use marijuana as part of a recommended treatment regimen consistent with applicable state law are those caregivers in clear and unambiguous compliance with existing state law who provide such individuals with marijuana is unlikely to be an efficient use of limited federal resources. Well, apparently the nominee for Drug Enforcement Administration Administrator, the head of the DEA, Michelle Leonhardt, is President Obama's nominee to direct the United States Drug Enforcement Administration. She must not have gotten that memo. Speaking yesterday before the Senate Judiciary Committee On day one of her Senate confirmation process, Leonhardt pledged to ignore the administration's formal medical marijuana guidelines. It's shocking to learn that not a single senator who attended the hearing, in particular Democratic Senator Sheldon Whitehouse from Rhode Island, had the courage to demand that Ms. Leonhardt respect the laws of the 15 states that have legalized the use of marijuana as medicine. In the case of Senator Whitehouse of Rhode Island, his own state is now in the process of licensing state-certified marijuana providers and distributors. Yet he appears to have no problem with the idea of appointing a federal official who declares her intention to put his own constituents in federal prison. It gets even more disturbing. In the days leading up to Wednesday's initial confirmation hearing, a coalition of all the advocacy groups out there called on members of the Senate Judiciary Committee to ask Ms. Leonhardt tough questions regarding her public record, one that's incompatible with state laws, public opinion, and with the policies of this administration. Yet, not a single senator did so. As interim director of our administrator of the Drug Enforcement Administration, Ms. Leonhardt has overseen dozens of federal raids on medical marijuana providers, producers, and even laboratory facilities that engage in the testing of cannabis potency and quality. Just this week, Ms. Leonhardt pledged to continue these actions that violate this administration's own written policies, and more importantly, actions that target the civilians of 15 states and the District of Columbia. These people are constituents of 30% of the United States Senate. Not even one of these elected officials appeared willing to speak up for them. That's disgraceful. We urge you to write or call your senator and complain that Ms. Michelle Leonhardt does not deserve to be nominated as the head of the Drug Enforcement Administration. So call up your state senator, or not your state senator, but your senators in Washington, D.C., and urge them to vote no on the Drug Enforcement Administration's head nominee, Michelle Leonhardt. That's the end of our Hemp News segment tonight. I'm going to go over to Mr. Tim Pate. How are you doing, Tim?
Well, I'm a little scared after that last one. That last news was like, wow, that's scary. When somebody is about to be put into an official position and their position is to hurt us, that's scary. I hope that people are paying attention to that and actually will write in and make
Well, it's amazing
comment.
that the Obama administration nominated her and didn't take down her nomination at all. That's what I find really surprising. There's a lot of conflicting forces at work here.
There are issues going on here. You're right. That's very conflicting. It really it is conflicting. I have to agree with you. I have to agree. And there was other news out of the Netherlands this week, because they have decided the conservative government that has just been elected in the Netherlands is considering making
it illegal for tourists to go to the coffee shops.
That's correct, which is a very enjoyable part of any visit to Amsterdam, I must say, having been there and enjoyed their niceties. It's like, wow, that's insane. So, news.
One step forward, two steps back.
Some days it
we'll
feels
just have
like that.
to try to make a couple jumps forward here to get
We do have good news, though. I was really pleased to hear about Arizona. We reported last week that it wasn't the case, and so I'm really glad we made that mistake.
There were, they made the announcement that it moved ahead just about an hour and a half before our show, and I guess there were a number of viewers out there trying to call through, and it's hard to get through on our show. We're pretty popular when it comes to those telephone calls, but I urge you out there, if you have a message you really want to get to us, go to our Ustream at ustream.tv. That's USTREAM.tv. There's a little chat box there, and you can type in a question there that, or a comment, or a correction that we can then make while we're still on the air here.
Exactly.
So go to Ustream TV if you definitely need to reach us and you can't get through on the phone.
Especially if it's good news.
Yeah. Or whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, I like the good news. The good news is that now we're 15. And that's
and the District of Columbia.
And the District of Columbia, true. And the city of Columbia, Missouri. But, hey, it's a start. We've got a lot more to go, that's for sure.
Mr. Tim Pate on guitar there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. We are taking your phone calls tonight. If you have a question or comment for us, please give us a call at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. I guess our first caller's there. Welcome to our show, caller. Hello, caller.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Very well. Welcome.
Hey, my question is, as far as Arizona law goes, is how many plants will be allowed to grow out there? Like,
You know, I'm not sure. I know if you live within 25 miles of a dispensary, you're not going to be allowed to grow at all. You're going to have to go to one of the dispensaries. However, obviously, when the law first goes into effect, there aren't going to be any dispensaries. And so the health department said everybody who initially applies is going to get permission to grow. I know the limit is 2.5 ounces of marijuana that a patient can possess. I am not 100% certain. I think it's a 12-plant limit, but don't quote me on that. Maybe somebody can go to ustream.tv and text that in there, and we'll go with that answer if we find it, it's a consensus.
all right, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome. Have
All
a good evening. So once again, if you have a question or comment for us tonight about ending adult marijuana prohibition, restoring industrial hemp, or helping medical marijuana patients, you can call us at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448.
Well, that was good news. I'm really pleased to hear it.
Oh, it's great.
Yes.
It's great. I mean, it just won by 4,321 votes,
Sure.
according to the current tally. So,
Are they going to do a recount? That's pretty close.
yeah, I think they are.
Yeah.
I think they are. Don't quote me on that one either.
That's
but
okay.
It gets certified here in 10 days. So they're moving forward with it. So
Well,
it's
that-
going into effect, and
Good
law
for you,
will take
Arizona.
effect on the 1st of December.
Well, we get people call us from Arizona on the show.
That's
on a
true. We
regular
have a lot of
basis,
our
so-
patients in other states have moved to Arizona and are looking forward to being able to legally possess, use cannabis in their state. And if they live more than 25 miles away from a dispensary in Arizona, they'll be able to grow their own too.
I got to be a judge in a glass blowing competition in Phoenix, Arizona, some years back.
I remember you went
And-
there. It was really hot.
Yeah. Oh, it was. Oh, very
remember.
hot.
I
It was
remember you were on the show
118
then.
degrees in the shade.
I remember
It
you
was.
came
It was
back
very,
from that
very
a
warm.
couple pounds lighter in water weight.
Whew, man, that was summer. June in Phoenix is a hot time.
Hot time.
It is. It's a
down
very
there
hot
in the
time.
summer, that's for sure.
Yeah, that year.
Arizona, you have to really like the heat to be there in the summer. So.
Well, it would be a good place to grow plants. I'd imagine they would like some of that. They like to.
think
They like
they
to be
do.
warm.
There's not a lot of good topsoil, but hey, we can truck that in.
That's right.
We'll
That's
have
true.
to see about that.
And there's
though.
a new bridge to Arizona now. You can get, instead of having to go across the Hoover Dam, you can go. There's a bridge over that area, so
Oh,
you can
okay.
go out of Las Vegas straight into Arizona now without having to do a detour or slow down to go across the Hoover Dam. So
beat that.
they just opened that bridge here recently.
I see.
It makes it a lot easier. It does.
Anyway, if you're out there and you have a question or comment for us tonight, if you're watching this show on Friday, November 19th, we're live up for another 45 minutes or so here, maybe only 40. Call us at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448.
Now, I'm glad to hear that the legislature in New Jersey is attempting to correct some of the problems with the law there. That apparently the health department there in New Jersey threw at them. Is that how that went down?
No, it wasn't from the health department. It was from the governor and the administration
okay. Thank you.
of the new Republican governor, Christie.
Okay.
And they moved to make it very, very restrictive. But now the legislature is going to look over that. So if you're out there in New Jersey, I know we have a few viewers in New Jersey.
Yes, we do.
Contact your New Jersey state senators and tell them to vote yes on SCR 130. That's SCR 130. And so we have New Jersey residents in New Jersey. Call your state senators there and urge them to vote yes on SCR, and everybody else, including in New Jersey, across the United States, call your United States senator down in Washington, D.C. and tell them to vote no for the nomination of Michelle Leonhardt to head the Drug Enforcement Administration. Guess we have another caller, though. Welcome to our show, caller. Hello?
Hello?
Hello.
That's you. Listen to your telephone and not to your TV, because there's a delay. In fact, just turn your TV off. Or down, at least.
Okay.
Are you there?
Do you have a question?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, come on.
I was told that it's hard to get financing for your houses, for your house that you live in, if you're growing in it. And I was wondering if there's some way, some particulars about that anybody can help us with.
I don't think that is in fact the case. It's really has nothing to do with whether you are a medical marijuana card holder and growing cannabis. As long as you're doing it legally, it shouldn't affect that. I'm not sure. Maybe with some lenders it might make a difference, but I think the vast majority it's not an issue.
It's the assessors are the ones that are causing the problem.
I know it's expensive to get a different assessor, but unless they think you're doing some damage, or there's likely, there's some damage that shouldn't affect your assessment.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Good luck on that.
Yeah, let us know if it does. There are plenty of us who own homes.
Yep.
Yeah, there sure are.
Okay, we have a question from our Ustream. It says, can a Washington patient get an Oregon card? Yes, a Washington patient can get an Oregon or a Montana card. Under the law now, as it stands in Oregon and Montana, out-of-state residents can get a state health department permit. And we have doctors who will be more than happy to help you do that. Just give us a call at our toll-free number is 1-800-723-0188. That's 1-800-723-0188. If you're here in the Portland area, you can call us directly at 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606. And we have doctors standing by, willing and ready and able to help patients get their medical marijuana permits from sea to shining sea, all the way from the Atlantic to out in the middle of the Pacific in Hawaii. So if you or a loved one think you might qualify for medical marijuana, then give us a call at those numbers and we'll be happy to help. So there you have it.
There you have it.
I like to say that a lot, I guess.
Well, I'm just sitting here realizing while you were talking that all we need is Idaho and Wyoming, and we'll have the entire West.
That's true. Both of those are hardcore red states that are Republican controlled. And they don't have an initiative process. Or at least, no, maybe they do have an initiative process in Idaho. I don't think they have one in Wyoming.
Maybe they just don't have any initiative.
Well, or they don't have the right kind of initiative, let's put it that way. I know that there's initiative to create the perfect potato in Idaho.
That's true.
So,
there has been.
There must be some initiative out there.
Well, there's a lot of farmers. And I used to work in the newspaper in Twin Falls, Idaho, back in 1978 through 1980, and yeah, it's a very conservative Mormon base. It was like 80% Mormon when I was there or more, so I'm not surprised it has that religious slant to it. Very much conservative base. So yeah, it's going to be difficult to change that. In Utah, I forgot about Utah. Oh my, how could I forget about Utah?
How can you forget Utah? That's another story. We've got another online question. It says, can you get an Oregon medical marijuana program card for ADHD or ADD? And the answer to that is no. Neither one of those conditions qualifies in any state except the state of California. In California, a doctor can recommend medical marijuana based on those two conditions, but they can't recommend it for that in any other state at this time. So you can only get it for the qualifying conditions in that state. So if you have ADHD or ADD, the only state you can get a medical marijuana card in is California. So there's that. Anyway, if you have a question or comment for us tonight, give us a call at 503-288-4448, and we'll be taking your calls throughout the rest of the hour. We do have a caller. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hey.
Howdy.
I was wondering if we can get a measure on the ballot for Multnomah County only for dispensaries.
You know, that wouldn't affect the state law. We could certainly put an initiative on the ballot, but it would not be binding. And so we could, and in fact, you know, dispensaries won overwhelmingly in Multnomah County. But, you know, there's a number of dispensaries opening up out there anyway. I'm not going to name names. They're not out there trying to get a lot of publicity. But they are opening up right and left. They're even out on the coast and in city centers. And so far, none of them have been raided or anything. I think as long as they continue to serve only medical marijuana patients with a valid card and they ascertain that, they're probably pretty safe.
Why
But,
wouldn't it be binding?
the only way to do a because the state, it would contradict state law explicitly, so it wouldn't be binding on any authority because it would contradict what's in the state law. However, it certainly wouldn't hurt.
Okay, thank you much.
You're welcome.
We could always write something like they did I-75 up in Seattle that directs the local constabulary to you put that on the lowest priority. I mean, that's how they did it in Seattle.
And there was a move here in Oregon a few years back to make marijuana the lowest priority in Portland, but it failed to make the ballot, unfortunately. I know I had backed that. I was not a direct participant in that campaign.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
Thank you.
That's a good question. You know, I had that question on my mind too recently, so I'm glad you brought it up so we could discuss it here on the air.
So if you're out there and you have a question for us tonight, call us at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. Or you can go online and watch us online at ustream.tv. There's a little text box off to the right of the screen there. You can click in there and type in a question or comment and just chat to the other people watching there online. We have a film clip we're going to roll now. We'll be back in just a moment to talk about it and take more viewer phone calls. So stay tuned.
Welcome to the Conceal Your Stash portion of this DVD. I've often been asked, why are you helping people break the law? The truth is, the law is already being broken. 18 million Americans smoke marijuana every day. 42% of Americans from the age 12 to infinity have tried marijuana at least once in their life. So it's clear the law is already being broken, and it's my mission to make sure these good, real American people that have families and have children do not make a stupid mistake by hiding a small amount of a substance that is impossible to overdose on in the wrong location and ultimately them winding up in a government cage. As you learned from the canine section, wear latex gloves when you're hiding your stash because the marijuana dust that's transferred to the glove can be easily thrown away and not transferred to the vehicle. Never ever conceal your stash on the exterior of the vehicle, such as the gas cap compartment or the bumper. A narcotic detector dog can smell your stash really easy if you hide it in these locations. Never ever conceal your stash in plain sight, such as the console. A police officer can spot that from the driver's window very easily, then he has probable cause to search your car. You wouldn't believe the people I arrested that had joints laying in their ashtray. Never ever hide your stash in easy to find locations such as the glove box. When you're digging around in the glove box for your insurance card, an officer can spot plain sight stashes. And never ever conceal your stash in a small overnight bag like this. I know it's convenient that when you're packing to grab your stash and throw it in, but it's a mistake because cops can search through these really easily. It's a really good idea to hide your stash in hard to find places, such as way under the dash. There's all kinds of crevices and places to hide small amounts of marijuana. As a successful interdiction officer, I would reach my hand in the dash to feel for a pound of marijuana, a large amount, but I would never take the time to look in every crevice for a joint. Remember, if it takes 15 minutes for you to hide your stash, it's going to take an officer at least an hour to find it, and that 15 minutes could quite possibly save you years in jail. Another good tip is to hide your stash toward the interior middle of the vehicle instead of close to the exterior. If we hide our stash close to the exterior, it's easier for a canine to detect this from outside the vehicle. Another really good idea is to conceal your stash as high as you can get it, such as the crevices and headliners of vehicles. It's hard for a narcotic detector dog to sniff up high. Another great place to conceal your stash is in your hand. I had an informant tell me that he never carried more than he could eat. He knew there was no way to overdose on marijuana, and if the red and blues lit him up in the back, he would simply swallow it. And remember, it's not illegal to smell like marijuana. It's illegal to possess marijuana. I learned another clever way to conceal your stash. When searching through vehicles, I would notice a small trap door cut in the floorboard. It didn't hurt the value of the vehicle, and the suspect would simply drop his stash through the trap door, and if I saw it, it looked like road debris. Get to know your vehicle. Every vehicle is unique in certain compartments that it contains. For instance, this vehicle contains a console that with some force can be lifted out, and there's all kinds of neat little crevices in there to tuck a joint. Another great tip is to be creative where you conceal your stash, such as inside a straw or inside a straw skin. Throw it in the bag. The point is to be creative. And remember, I never ever arrested anybody for marijuana brownies or marijuana cookies. That is an excellent, safe way to travel with your stash. Welcome to the search and seizure section of this DVD. There are 3 things.
That was good. That was interesting.
Yeah, that's an interesting video out there by a Texas police officer called Busted, and it's about how not to get busted.
Never get busted again.
We'll have some more segments of that in future shows. Now you know how to hide your stash to be safe.
In Texas.
Yeah, or in any state, or wherever you're at.
Hey.
That'll help you.
It will. You're right. It does matter.
All right, so we are taking your phone calls tonight, and we have a caller standing by. Welcome to the show, caller.
Oh, gentlemen, I've been
Hey.
your program for many years now.
Thanks.
The great part is that I'm a brand new card holder.
Congratulations.
And,
and we're sorry that something's wrong. You had to get it. Yeah.
Well, you know, I was waiting for Bush to get on office before I decided to join the party. So,
Sure.
I'm a quadriplegic who's trying to ditch and lower my morphine use for pain. Here's my question. As I'm not all that familiar with how everything works, is that I don't know anyone, and I live in an apartment, and I don't know how to go about finding myself a grower, or how to interview growers, or to find a friendly farmer somewhere to help me out in my new adventure into medical marijuana. Maybe you guys can point me in the right direction.
You know, I think we can. I can't really go into details here on the television, but I can tell you, give us a call at this number, 503-235-4606, and leave a message there with that predicament, and we'll try to help you. So give us a call at that number there on your screen.
Are there any questions I should be asking for screening someone who might be a grower? I mean, I want to make
have
sure
all
that
the agreement that you have with your grower worked out before you sign them up. So you want to be sure that they're going to meet your needs, and you're going to be able to meet whatever needs or requirements your grower has. So you want to have all those out in the open before you sign the paperwork. So you want to work those out, and probably better to put it in writing. So,
sure. And it's unfortunate that we didn't get the dispensaries, because this is maybe for more silly hoops that people like myself have to go through because
It's kind of ridiculous.
I mean, how am I supposed to know who's producing quality medicine? So that's the
It's
weird
very,
part.
very difficult.
Even
That's where
when you are
we're
in
trying.
Paul and my's position, it doesn't always work out.
That's
so
true.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
you've been ripped off by people.
I
I haven't
have.
turned my growing rights over to anyone
Yeah.
else, but I have had thieves come and steal from my outdoor crop. They never got a very large percentage
no
of it.
guarantees, no matter what.
Okay, well, I'll give you guys a call next weekend.
Yeah, call
hopefully
that
you
number,
can help
leave
me
a
out.
message. We're working on developing assistance for patients, so just leave that message and we'll get back to you in the coming week or so.
Excellent. Thank you, gentlemen, and keep up the quality programming. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We keep
Okay, have
trying.
a good night, Josh. Bye.
Good night. If you're watching tonight, Friday, November 19th, 2010, then you can call us at 503-288-4448.
This is show number 560,
60, I believe.
This
Yeah,
is my
show five.
250th show.
Welcome.
Thank you very
Only
much.
256,
only-
no, 250.
250 for me.
All right.
Yeah, I started on show number 310. So yeah, it's show 250.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
when we get to
I
620,
mean, you've done
we'll
many
have
more
half
than
of
that.
them.
I know that. I know.
Well, 310 more, but
I know. I know.
and you might have missed one or two in the intervening.
I know
but
I have.
not many.
Not very many. Yeah, but I know I have. I'm sure there's some thrown out there, but I don't even think about that. I'm trying to keep score. So it's just good to be on the show. And we have so many friends from all over the country now. And I deeply appreciate the questions we get because it seems to affect a lot of other people, the same questions.
Yep. Yeah, it's an interesting time. I'm pretty excited about the Arizona law passing. They're going to license 125 different dispensaries, and then they're going to decide if they need more. So they're going to have a good distribution system in place. They made it illegal for employers to fire patients just for not being impaired but testing positive
They
for
included that.
metabolites. Same with driving rights. They included some driving rights for patients. So there are a couple of things that make Arizona's law one of the models for the rest of the country. So it's a good thing that it passed.
Well, I have many friends in Arizona, so I'm really glad to see that. I know some very sick people down there, and it was one of the individuals I met down there who had West Nile virus and was
Yikes.
Oh, it was a yikes. It was a horrible yikes, and so I'm certain that he and many of his friends are very glad that this has passed. He lives in constant pain.
We have a number of our patients who've lived in other places and moved there, and so we got a lot of calls this week saying, when are you opening? When are you come to town?
Oh, very good. And so obviously you're going to plan on Arizona soon.
We're working on opening in Arizona right away, making some moves to be down there within the month.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good for Arizona.
More work to do, but hey, we're happy to do it, so we'll be there anytime we can. So
Well, we have a lot of friends there and a lot of very sick people there, so
Yeah,
just like in the other states that you're in.
now on next
so many
week's show,
states.
we have the
Charles
folks
Holmes.
from Living
From Conscious Planet.
Conscious Planet. Okay.
Conscious Planet is the name of the current product, the brand.
I see.
And so
I see.
that is Charles Holmes will be coming down from Vancouver, Washington. Vancouver, BC, and will join us on the show next week, and hopefully we'll have some of his products, and I'm sure he'll have a lot of things to say. I've been researching about his company and all of that, and so a very good source of hemp food, and looking forward to having him on the show.
Yeah.
As somebody who is a manufacturer of hemp food, we don't have those on the show very often.
That's true. That's true. So, but it'll be interesting. We'll have a number of different food products. We'll focus on hemp foods and hemp
Yes.
nutrition products, which is definitely one of the largest segments of the emerging hemp market. It's out there. I think the food and oil and beauty products are
True.
the largest economic sector out there in the hemp world right now.
Well, I'm reading testimonials from some of the product, from some of the people who've been using the products, okay? And what it's only testimonials, anecdotal, but obviously there is some intense medical remedy going on there when people use this on a daily and regular basis.
That's the omega-3, 6, and 9. The essential fatty acids are there just to perfect protein for human health.
Well,
we do have another caller, though.
Oh, good.
Welcome to the show, caller.
Is this me?
Yes,
It's you.
It is.
Oh, I'm on. Okay, you guys. You better turn that down. Okay.
Thanks.
I just need to know.
Uh-huh.
All right. I'm a marijuana smoker, a marijuana toker, you know, all those. But how can they? Okay, how would I put this out? The prescription people that go to doctors and get all of these prescriptions to say what's wrong with them, like, you know, mind over the matter. And then 5 days later, they come back and need another pill. So, but the pills that are going out are people that have no insurance. You know, they're just up and up and up and up and up and up that bill, you know. And then people that want to take care of it can go out and buy theirs. And, you know, we're trying to legalize it and do it right. But then where's all the people that are out there taking their pills, sucking it up, and they can... it's kind of like between you guys and the CEO, like they're not going to let go because there's so many pills out there now.
Well, it is true that the pharmaceutical industry is one of the affected industries that have lobbied against medical marijuana. Currently, though, all the major pharmaceutical companies are investigating cannabis, trying to find that magic molecule that they can patent and then sell it back to us. But currently, obviously, the whole allopathic medicine regimen is geared toward delivering these fairly expensive pharmaceutical drugs. And so we've got to just educate people and tell them about the benefits of cannabis and how it can be used and how it doesn't have the harmful side effects of most of those pharmaceuticals. I mean, you listen to these commercials about pharmaceuticals, and the last half of them are basically warning you of all the terrible things that can happen to you if you take it. So with cannabis...
Why would you want to take it if you're going to have a blood clot and a heart failure? And
Right.
You know,
you may die, you know, it may result in death. You know, that's not the kind of remedy I need. And I'm sure you don't either. But, you know, the truth is going to come out. We're trying to put it out there. There's more and more scientific evidence every day, so it just takes us educating one another about the benefits of cannabis and telling the truth. So eventually we see major change. We've already seen some major changes over the past 14 years since medical marijuana first passed, and I think we'll see a lot more in the coming 2 to 4 years.
I thought it was troubling that one of the major oppositions and financial oppositions to Proposition 19 in California was the beer and wine industry. I mean, they obviously those intoxications are legal, but they do a lot more damage than marijuana ever has. And but they you know, obviously don't want medical marijuana or marijuana in any shape or form out there on the market because they were totally against it and supplied a lot of money to make certain that it didn't happen.
Well, maybe we should look at it as a fruit. You know, tomato goes with the seed, and they say it's a vegetable or a fruit. You know, because there's a lot fruits and vegetables.
It is an agricultural crop. It is.
That can make it feel good too.
I want to thank you for calling tonight, though,
You
and
have a
appreciate
great
your
day.
question.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We have an online question that's come to us. It says, is hepatitis C a qualifying condition? And in the state of Oregon, hepatitis C is not on the list of conditions. However, chronic nausea, chronic pain, severe nausea, and both of those are caused by hepatitis C. So if you are symptomatic with your hepatitis C, then that definitely qualifies in all the states that have medical marijuana. Now, up in Washington State, when they first passed their medical marijuana law, hepatitis C was not included, but chronic pain and chronic severe nausea were. However, the state health department moved to add hepatitis C to the program. So hepatitis C qualifies in every state, if not on its own, then from the symptoms it causes in the people who are unfortunate enough to have that disease.
There you have it.
Now, as you can see, there's a list of conditions there, including chronic pain and nausea, AIDS, glaucoma, irritable bowel syndrome, seizures and spastic disorders, and other things. So if you have any of those, then you qualify for medical marijuana. We have doctors all the way across the United States who are willing and ready and able to help you get your medical marijuana permit. Just call us. You can call us at our toll-free number at 1-800-723-0188. That's a phone that's answered by machine 24/7. During working hours, we try to answer it in person as well. But if you are anywhere around the country, you can leave a message 24 hours a day at 1-800-723-0188. If you're here in the Portland area, you might want to try calling us locally at 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606. Now we have a petition out there. We're in the process of gathering sponsorship signatures on the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act for 2012. And if you go to the New Seasons on Hawthorne Boulevard here in Portland, any weekday from noon to 4, one of our petitioners has pledged he will be there and be ready to gather your signatures. So come on down to Hawthorne. They're at about 40th and Hawthorne, Southeast Hawthorne, anytime between noon and 4 to the New Seasons grocery store, and there is a petitioner at the door waiting to gather your signature. We'll be there, and what we're trying to do is completely legalize marijuana. We're trying to put that on the ballot in 2012, and the petitioners are there gathering sponsorship signatures, and we have to turn in over 1,000 signatures to get the ball rolling and get a ballot title, question, and summary. Then we can start the real petition campaign. But we're going to try to completely legalize cannabis. To find out more about that, you can go to that website there on your screen, cannabistaxact.org. That's cannabistaxact.org. We have a caller who's been standing by. Hello, caller.
Yeah, Paul, it's been a long time since I've talked to you. I'm Rob, live out in St. Helens.
Well, welcome.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up a couple of things. One is about the idea of opening dispensaries, on the vote on that. And I got to tell you, I didn't vote for it. And the reason I didn't vote for it is because I got a good caregiver and I get all my medicine for free.
Right.
So, you know, the idea of getting dispensaries going up here and then the taxes and everything that goes along with it, you're going to have another California where you can't get anything for less than what you pay for it on the street anyway. You know, I'm a firm believer that we have plenty of people here that can take care of what we need, rather than open up dispensaries and make people that can't afford it have to go pay for it. The other thing I wanted to ask about was tea. I remember when back in my hippie days trying to drink tea, and it never really did a whole lot for me. So could you explain to me what I was doing wrong? Or
well, you know, the main thing is that tea is made with water, and the active ingredients in marijuana are not water soluble. And so the dosage in a tea is going to vary greatly. And so you can't really measure the dosage in any particular tea, and because it's a water-based extract, and water isn't the best extracting substance. So that might have been part of the problem. Also, you have to take considerably more when ingesting it orally than you do when you're smoking it. Basically, it's about 10 times more to have a psychoactive effect. So if you're seeking that, you have to have a larger dosage where, you know, 1/10 of a gram might produce a THC psychoactive response. It would take 10 to 15 times that to get that same effect through ingesting it through food or drink.
Yeah, the thing is that since last time I saw you, I've been diagnosed with COPD. And I've got a vaporizer, and I use it pretty religiously. But there's times when I'm away from that, and I can't, you know, then what do I do? So I figured what I was going to do is make iced tea. And evidently that isn't going to work.
Well,
so,
you can make an alcohol-based extract or a glycerin-based extract and mix that in with tea, or you can just make a capsule out of it and put it into there are capsule kits out there for $10 or $15. The capsules themselves are less than a penny. So, in fact, we give all the patients that come through our clinic recipes to make capsules out of leaf, which really aren't psychoactive, but have a lot of CBD. And it's the CBD that's the primary medicine for pain, spasms, seizures, and most of the conditions that medical marijuana helps. Or you can make them out of bud with coconut oil. We have a recipe for that as well that would be more likely to be psychoactive, made out of the flowers or the buds.
Yeah, I've got tincture. I've made tinctures. I've made a lot of different things.
The glycerin one might work in your tea better than anything else then.
Huh?
The glycerin one. The glycerin extract, that would work better in your tea than almost anything else then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right, well, that's about it. Although, yeah, I really, struggled with that vote, and I really had to put my conscience to it. And, I am a Christian. I read my Bible every day. So just because we're some of us are patients doesn't mean we're not Christians.
Right.
I have to bring up something that oh gosh, he was on your show all the time. He ran for sheriff.
Oh yeah, Don Dupay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, Don brought up to me at the clinic one time after a show that that the anointing oil in the Bible was cannabis was one of the ingredients.
Yeah, cannabis was the main ingredient in the biblical anointing oil. And that's kind of a historic fact.
I've read it through and through, and I'm telling you, it's cassia oil is what they're talking.
Well, what you got to do is go back and look at what that was translated from, because what you're reading is an English translation. Right. And so if you go to the actual original, I think it was Aramaic and Hebrew text.
Aramaic, yeah.
Aramaic in the new, Hebrew in the old. I've studied them.
Yeah.
I went to grad school to be a minister.
Of that's in question.
So you're saying that is true?
Yes.
I think so.
Yes,
I wouldn't go into court and swear to it, but my understanding through a lot of historical research is that's been mistranslated.
Yeah, and it was available then, a common daily use.
My only concern is I got to stand before God in judgment.
Good.
Now. That's what
He made
I'm wondering.
Be glad.
Because Jesus never smoked from a bong. You understand
That's
what
true.
I'm saying?
That's true.
Jesus didn't need it.
Yeah.
He didn't need that oil.
Probably used an opium pipe or something similar like that. Because that was what they had back then, bone pipes. And it was common. It was everywhere. It was common. They found it in urns. They found it in burial urns. They found it in recipes for women who were having births. I mean, this is all Judaic history. So, you can go back there. You just study your archaeological, biblical research and reviews, and you will find that constantly in there. So
a new book, Cannabis and the Soma.
You're getting misinformation there, and you need to really dig deeper. If that's how you feel about your religion and your research, then there's some work
There's a book I would highly recommend. It just came out. It's called Cannabis and the Soma Solution by Chris Bennett. And so that might shed some light on that. I'm not going to pretend to be a historical expert here on these subjects, but in terms of religious history, that's a good book that's just come out. I haven't read through it all the way, but I know the author, and I know he's been working on it for many years.
Right.
All right, well, thanks for your call. We're running out of time. We just got a couple minutes left here. So.
Okay, well, God bless you then.
Bless you too. So we are right out of time now, and I want to just remind you in closing that we do have doctors who can help patients get medical marijuana permits all across the country. If you need that help, call us at that number there on your screen, 1-800-723-0188. You can leave a message any time of day. We have a little film clip we're going to roll here, and we're going to switch over to a song. Maybe that's it. Here we go, though. I want to thank you for watching this week. Tune in next week and help us restore hemp. Good night.